So first of all, thank you everyone for joining today. This webinar hosted by SmallNet with IBM. I'm delighted to say we've got Jordan Jaffe with us on the call, who's the IBM product manager. Sorry, could you go back to the first slide there, Jordan? Sorry. The intro slide. Sorry. Yeah, so this is going to be about watsonx.data integration. As I say, it's presented by IBM and SmallNet. A large chunk of this will be done by Jordan, but then we'll be covering off various things around use cases. But we're particularly excited to share this. It's a new way of approaching data integration. And it's not just us, it's a real paradigm shift in the marketplace. And it's analysts like Gartner, Forrester, IDC, Blur Consulting, all of those are talking about this, where they're doing their market research, where people are looking for other elements rather than just pure structured data, if you will, to go through there. And in some light, and it's always been the case, particularly with IBM, they're probably the only vendor in the marketplace that's got the patents, the R&D, the dollars, the resources, and a lot of the industry experts that can actually pull this off. And we're delighted to share with you the new vision around watsonx.data integration, how it all pulls together within that. Just some logistics before we go through this. We are recording this, and what we'll do at the end of this, we'll mail you a few days afterwards to go through things like the elements of how do you get hold of the PDFs that we're going to share with you, so you can have a look at them, so you don't have to make lots of copious notes, and there'll be a replay after that. And as we'll be going through this, there are some polling questions. We're going to raise 2 or 3, that's all. They're nothing mind-numbing or anything like that. It's a very simple questions. And if you could participate, that would be fantastic. If you don't wish to, then we understand that as well. And there's also, you can see a little button on the top of your screen, probably says, next chat says Q&A. If you want to raise any questions in there, either Simon, myself, or Jordan will try and answer those as we're going through the course of the session. And at the very end, we'll do a quick Q&A on anything that we've thought about or you've thought about within there. So if we go to the next slide, Jordan. So Jordan Jaffe is the product manager for watsonx.data integration, a team of many people, and there's a whole raft of developers and designers and marketeers behind all the product set. And this has all been pulled together over the last, quite a number of months and years. I'm Paul Ranson. I'm going to be just covering off the initial bit about us and some of the use cases that we're seeing in the marketplace. And I'm joined by my colleague and the owner of SmallNet, Simon Fryer, who will say a few words as we go through. So without further ado, Jordan, if you want to push to the next slide. So we're getting Jordan to drive these because it's easier because most of the control was in the slides and the demos that she's going to show as we go through that. For those who don't know us, or don't know who SmallNet are, we're an IBM business partner, and Simon's set the company up about 26 years ago, very much around databases and data warehousing. So we've been around the industry quite a number of years. You can see from the grey hair, we've been there, seen there, and kind of done it within that area. And it's all around information management solutions, in particular around data governance. So whether it's cataloging or whether it's setting up processes, data integration, so the various things we're going to talk about today, data warehousing, and now becoming to cloud data warehousing and lake houses, and also data quality. We specialize in all of those particular areas within there. So say we are an IBM business partner, have been for many, many years, and indeed IBM subcontract us for their professional services sometimes if they want some specialist skills in a certain area, or they're short of people in certain areas, they'll come to us and we support them. And in doing that, we would I'm just letting someone else in. We would cover off all provision of all the software. We'll do development of software. We'll do services around that. We actually do training courses on all the products that we are talking about today and previous. And we will provide, bespoke solutions should you need that. And Data Stage is one of the ETL products that IBM have had for quite a number of years, since 2005, I think it was. So we've been working with that product before that time, some 3 or 4 years before that, when it was owned by another organization. So we've been around that area. A number of our clients are in different industries, so they range from financial services to retailers to insurance to financial services and so on. So we've worked on all these kind of organizations. We haven't done all of their projects. We've done some. We've been pulled in to do work on particular niche areas and do that. And if you look at the bottom slide, there is a link to our website, and on that website you'll be able to see all the details about the assets we've got, the accelerators we've got, and services. And we've also been busy creating use case stories and blogs around some of the products that you'll hear and see today, and particularly like data modern warehousing. So Simon, did you want to add a few more words to this commentary, and then we'll pan on to Jordan?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks, Paul. So hi everyone. So welcome to people. Well, welcome to everyone actually, and hello to people that don't know me, and hello to people who do know me as well. So it's good. Yeah, it's good for you to spare some time with us to come and see this. So yeah, I'll just quickly introduce myself. Then, as Paul says, I set up SmallNet about 25 years ago, pretty much now. So I'm getting quite a long time. And I started out really with, as Paul says, helping people load their data warehouses. That grew into doing just general kind of integration as well outside of data warehousing, using what was then a brand new kind of revolutionary tool, which was Data Stage, a low-code ETL tool. There were a couple around at the time, Data Stage and Informatica, and we kind of built a business around that actually. And the innovation that came from Data Stage and the ability that it gave you, the capabilities that it gave you to rapidly create robust, quick integrations, really kind of pushed the whole kind of market around data warehousing. Actually, is a real kind of game changer. Before that, we were coding, and it was slow, and we're kind of at a similar, and that's worked right for the last kind of 15 or even 20 years. But as we all know, the whole world of data and how people are using it now has changed dramatically, and the landscape has changed quite a lot as well. So whereas before a good ETL tool was enough, now it's not, essentially. Really, there are so many other kind of use cases that people are trying to do. We've got lake houses are growing, cloud data warehousing is growing. We've got AI. I mean, data for AI is going to be, data for that is going to be fundamental. And so this single kind of use case for just straight ETL, traditional ETL, whilst it's still there and isn't going to go away, has grown. And this is why I think we're interested in doing this webinar of IBM, is that IBM's concept, as is being led also by, as Paul said, by the industry kind of thought leaders in this, is that you're now going to need to have more than one tool. And already people are doing that. But the problem is you're getting too many tools now. We've moved away from having a distinct set of tools to use, where we could have a good kind of skill set growing in that space, to having it fragmented. And that's slowing down the industry. It's making it hard for individuals, data engineers, to kind of keep up, because they have to use different tools in different places all the time. But it's also actually slowing down the industry's ability and companies' abilities to actually adopt these new technologies. And that's not really good for anyone. So IBM's vision of having a true data integration platform that provides, ultimately, is going to provide a common interface across lots of different capabilities, common orchestration, and also a common data observability piece across the top, is going to help businesses and data engineers to actually deliver things to the marketplace in a reasonable time. So I think this is a really interesting time. IBM are kind of first in the marketplace, I'd say, in kind of being able to execute and kind of show a vision and start to build on it. I'm sure other people will follow, but I think this is something that's really interesting to see. So I'm going to hand over to Jordan now, and she can explain kind of how IBM is going about this and what they actually have to do to also take it to its ultimate level. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Jordan.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Simon, and thank you, SmallNet, for having me today. My screen seems to be there we go. Thank you for having me today. I'm super excited to be here with you all today to talk to you about watsonx.data integration. We have a lot to cover today. Before we get started, I want to just put a little disclaimer out there that some of the things that we'll be talking about is future facing. So some of the stuff will be available later, but at the same time, a lot of the stuff that we'll be talking about today, it is available now on our recent launch on IBM Cloud. So let's go ahead and get started. So for many of you, you'll remember the days of carrying around a case of CDs. It wasn't really efficient, but it was the only way to have all of your favorite albums easily accessible within one place. And then Apple Music and Spotify came along and brought every album you can imagine into a single platform. And we're at really a critical inflection point with data integration because the data integration market is stuck carrying around a case of CDs. And so when we speak with organizations, we often hear that they resonate with this. We hear that their engineers tend to be underwater. Just to throw a couple of stats out there, about 90% of data runs through data engineering teams. And about 50% of that 90% is time spent maintaining and rewriting pipelines for consistency. And this is really causing a data engineering problem. So, for some of you might be listening, you might be shaking your head, yes, this is resonated, and you may be in your transformation journey right now. You may be looking at new workloads, where you're going to put those workloads, how much time, you're going to have to spend maintaining and rewriting those pipelines. So if we dive deeper into this and what's causing the data engineering problem, it's really because there's a constant shift in data architectures, that has disrupted data engineering. We've journeyed from the data lakehouse to the Hadoop to cloud data warehouses, and now the lakehouse architecture. And this constant evolution isn't just about technology, but fundamentally changing where and how customers like yourself store their data. And this is a really big challenge for data engineers because they're constantly having to rewrite pipelines and redo all the work that they have as they incorporate or move from one architecture to another.
So James, you've got this slide for the polling question. Yeah. So we just want to ask people how many perhaps data integration tools do you have, and maybe you can just tick a box. It could be 0, it could be 2, it could be more. Be interested to hear what you have to say, just quickly.
I think the other thing to point out is, don't worry, your response is going to be anonymous, by the way. So
sorry, apologies.
No one's going to see.
So we can see the picture changing a wee bit there. 67% you've got 2 or more. So interesting. Oh, slight change again, back to 50%. Okay, thank you, James. Oh, even Stevens now. Okay, thanks very much. Carry on, Jordan. Sorry.
No, not at all. All right. So with these technology changes, organizations tend to be struggling and having to rethink 4 areas. The first is the tools that they are using. Oftentimes, organizations are trying to find the right tool for the right use case and the right integration style, often leaving organizations with many tools, causing tool sprawl. So essentially having one tool for one use case versus having one tool for many use cases. Second, not only do we see organizations struggling with these tech changes, but there's also a skill shortage or varying of skill sets. So for example, you might have an engineering team that is really heavily Python based and aren't able to upskill to other areas. Or you might have various skill sets where you have a team that focuses on Python, or you have teams that that are heavily focused on low code, no code. So you have varying skill sets, forcing organizations to choose different tools to fit those skills. With these technology changes, organizations have to rethink how they're going to rewrite their pipelines to adapt to each technology change. And then last is performance and data quality, where a lot of teams set up these pipelines, but have little insight into the performance, into the performance, data quality, or data health of these pipelines. So when you look at these 4 challenges, it becomes extremely challenging for organizations to keep up with these architectural shifts and deliver to meet business needs. So really, it's time for a change. So what if we said we could assist with all these challenges by eliminating this fragmented tool stack and just have one unified control plane that could do it all? Empower existing teams to work with the skills that they have without having to build new skills, allowing teams to mix and match and conform to the talent that they have versus, trying to force them into an authoring style based off of this. Being able to reuse pipelines without having to change them with every paradigm shift. We shouldn't, really be destined to rewrite pipelines every time there's a change in data management. And this way, we don't have to keep incurring technical debt every time we rewrite a new pipeline. And lastly, what if you could optimize pipeline execution for cost and performance? So when we take a look at the old way versus the new way, the old way combines multiple tools across different integration capabilities. It's very fragmented, and organizations are caught in this trap where tooling drives our business decisions, where it really should be the business need and requirement should drive the tooling need. So the new way is a unified control plane. So think of a central train station. It really serves as a major transportation hub, acting as a central point for multiple train lines, providing passengers a gateway to reach their final destination. Given the number of data integration tools in the market, enterprises also need a central station that brings together multiple tracks. And this is why IBM has introduced watsonx.data integration. Watsonx.data integration is your new central station, allowing data teams to go deep into integration tracks with capabilities across ETL, ELT, real-time streaming, replication, data observability, as well as unstructured data, all accessible from a single pane of glass. So with watsonx.data integration, IBM offers a unified control plane to create data pipelines that are not tethered to a single integration style or storage architecture, really eliminating the reliance on specialized tools. So let me share with you 3 key pillars of our strategy, and then I'll dive into these for the rest of the presentation. So number 1 is pipeline authoring experience, which really provides pipeline authoring suitable for all skill levels. The second is integration capabilities. We embed the full spectrum of data integration capabilities within watsonx.data integration. And then third is adaptability. This is how we future-proof ourselves from these different shifts that are happening within the market. So now let's talk about some of these 3 pillars and capabilities, starting off with the first one, that pipeline authoring experience. So watsonx.data integration makes it easy for anyone to build and work with data pipelines, no matter the skill level. With our visual low-code, no-code canvas, users can simply just drag and drop the components that they need to design a pipeline. It has an intuitive interface that really can help build out complex flows without needing to really be a tech expert. We're also making it easier to create pipelines with a new natural language powered assistant through an interactive chatbot built on watsonx Assistant. You essentially just tell the assistant what you want to do, and it'll build it for you. And then lastly, if you prefer to be a little bit more hands-on with code, we also have the option for Python SDK that allows developers and more technical users to build, customize, and manage pipelines programmatically. So now I'm going to dive into one area that we just talked about, which is that AI flow assistant. So you can design a pipeline and mix and match low code and no code styles as well as using our intuitive drag and drop interface. The AI flow assistant, you'll be able to edit pipelines that are previously built or build new pipelines and conform those pipelines to what you need. The AI Flow Assistant makes data integration easier, smarter, and more accessible than ever by really helping users interact with the UI, ask documentation questions, and build data pipelines with natural language. So now let's go ahead and see that in action. So to begin, you're going to click the AI button on the screen to open up the design canvas. And this is really where the magic happens, and you'll start to work with the assistant. Next, you'll tell the assistant what you want to achieve by inputting your pipeline intent into the chatbot. In this case, the user wants to read data from DB2, remove duplicates, sort the data, and then load it into the Snowflake table. The assistant powered by watsonx Assistant will take your query, make an API call to generate multiple stage predictions for your intent, and these predictions will then be populated onto the canvas, creating a skeleton flow as you see here. You can review the different properties for each stage, and once you've satisfied, you then can click continue, and the system will insert these properties into each step. The AI Flow Assistant will populate the canvas with connectors and stages, guiding you through the process and teaching you how to use our product. If you need to make any tweaks, no problem at all. Simply just open up the step and edit the stage directly. With the assistant, you also have the power to automatically generate relevant stage nodes based off of the transformations occurring, or add and remove stages at any point in the flow. Once you finalize your flow, it's really time to bring it to life by simply clicking compile and run, and the data integration job will start automatically. So we'll go ahead and let this flow finish out. And then in a few minutes, you'll see the job complete successfully. And this is a really major milestone because you've just built a complete data integration pipeline from start to finish using our new Flow Assistant. So now let's go ahead and take a look at some more functionality that is built both for new users trying to onboard onto our product, as well as existing users that are already familiar with the canvas and its stages. With our assistant, you can easily work with complex stages like the transformer stage by selecting create transformer expression, and then simply describe your business intent, and the assistant will output the expression that it captures. Some key features to just note here is that it has built-in syntax validation to ensure the expression generated by the assistant meets proper syntax requirements. It explains existing expressions in natural language to make it easier to understand and work with complex expressions. And we also know that sometimes you just need help with general usage questions. So you can ask those questions through our integrated documentation by simply asking those questions, and the assistant will return an answer for you. So the net here is really it brings the great advantages of AI to data integration to drive improvements in real time to deliver and address skill set challenges. So before we move away from the screen here, I want to note that what we saw is just the beginning. Towards the latter half of this year, we will bring the next evolution of this and shift to integrating across the entire platform and shifting from the AI guiding you to the AI doing it for you. The idea here is you'd be able to start with the outcome and the result that you're looking for, and the agent will help figure out what data you need and how to get there. The agent is going to work across the different tools that we expose within our platform. So it's going to help us find the right data. It's going to help us build a plan. And obviously, the user has the ability to provide input as you go and iterate with the agent. And so once you have that plan, you can leverage that data integration to leverage the right execution engine and style of integration. And so as we'll talk about here later, that could mean that you mix in, it's one style of integration or mix and match of style of integrations. And this doesn't have to be just about creating things. This could also be about detecting issues, debugging things, troubleshooting items, or really help augment our daily process flows. So now going into our second pillar, which is integration capabilities, we've brought all of your integration styles under one roof. Whether you're working with batch, streaming, replication, unstructured data, or observability, you can manage it all from a single control plane without having to context switch. So now I want to dive into two areas here. First being data observability. And so we'll go ahead and see data observability in action within the watsonx.data integration product. So you can now easily track and monitor your data integration approaches using our built-in data observability features. You can view and manage all of your triggered alerts in one place from a single pane of glass. This will allow you to acknowledge and resolve alerts, debug issues, set severity levels for different data problems. And then in the alert section, you'll be able to view a comprehensive list of all of your alerts, which includes alert type, severity level, conditions that trigger the alert, as well as status on whether the alert is turned on or not. as you can see here on the screen. This provides a clear overview of your alert configuration, making it easy to manage and adjust your alert as needed. You can also add a new alert by simply creating new alert and select the type of alert that you want to create, such as run state alert or run duration alert. And here we'll select the run state alert tied to a specific process like Salesforce ingestion process, which allows you to monitor the status of your data integration, receive notifications, and then run the state changes. Well, in the receiver section, you'll see that we've also set up a Slack channel to receive notifications when this alert is triggered, to receive notifications when the alert is triggered. So you can easily, configure the alert receivers in the section and then send notifications to your preferred channel. Then from the Slack channel, you can quickly investigate the issue by clicking on the link, which takes you directly to watsonx.data integration for debugging and troubleshooting. So going into the second capability that I want to highlight here today, which is unstructured data. So actually, most data is unstructured. Actually, about 90% of enterprise data is unstructured, which is an overwhelming volume of information that remains untapped. This, what we're talking about here is documents, PDFs, emails, images. Most of it remains outside the reach of traditional analytics and AI workflows. And due to access and management complexity, only about 1% is currently used for generative AI. So although how we treat unstructured data and structured data is relatively the same with ingesting, governance, quality, which are all typically used to fuel a consuming application like AI, the way we do this is done a little differently when it comes to structured versus unstructured. So keeping with the theme here, you should be able to manage your unstructured data in the same control plane that we've been talking about without having to bring in a new isolated tool. So in this next demo that I'm going to show you, utilizing invoices and purchase orders via a content management store like Box, we'll show you how this unstructured data can be integrated into an AI chatbot. In addition, we'll also show how unstructured data includes pre-built connectors and operators, such as PII masking, quality filtering, and other operators like embedding, chunking, and vectorizing to really allow users to transform raw documents into a more structured representation for downstream AI. So let's go ahead and see that in action as well. So first, we're going to ingest invoices directly from your document management system. And in this case, we're going to connect to Box. watsonx.data integration has a simple drag and drop interface that connects to your document source, identifies sensitive information in PII, selects chunking and embedding models, stores vectorized embeddings, as well as enriches data. As the data is being processed, watsonx.data integration extracts and creates a semantic understanding of all derivative elements, including structured entities, key value pairs, and embeddings. And then these elements are then mapped to business terms and data classes, providing a deeper understanding of the data. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the results. In this example, we're looking at invoices and looking at two distinct and correlated data modalities to provide confidence in interpreting unstructured documents. watsonx.data integration provides a business term summary, sensitive data classifications, and inferred semantic details, as you can see here, all within this dashboard. So after enforcing data governance rules, you can now connect your AI-ready data to a generative AI invoice processing analyst. And with this, what we can do is we can ask the we can ask questions that traditional RAG struggles to answer accurately. So for example, we ask the analyst to match invoice number 63759 with its purchase order and confirm the line items. It needs to understand the relationship between the invoice and the purchase order and the positional context of the line item. After the agent tells us that the line items do not match, we can prompt the agent again to check different invoices to see if there is an incentive or penalty. In this case, the agent identifies an incentive for early payment. And again, this shows the power of a single control plane with our data integration tool. So going into our last pillar, which is workload adaptability, watsonx.data integration is built to adapt regardless of the underlying technology. So users can create reusable pipelines that automatically optimize for performance and cost depending on the workload. For example, which we see here on the screen. With ELT pushdown, we can flip the script on traditional ETL, where we load the data first and then push the transformation logic to the target system so it can handle the heavy lifting. This way, you can design a pipeline one time and use it with different integration styles without having to rewrite a thing. So this means that you can future-proof your pipelines even as your infrastructure changes, whether you're moving from a lakehouse or a warehouse architecture, watsonx.data integration can adapt. So essentially, this means that you essentially design once, let the execution change based off the patterns and constraints that you ultimately give the system. So now, Paul, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you to talk about use cases.
Thank you. Thanks, Jordan. There's a lot to see there for everyone. So, and it's probably a brain test and all of those kind of things. So, just to say that there are lots of these various demonstrations that are available for us to share with you, and we'll talk about that at the very end of this little bit in a session. So it depends how you look at this. The challenges in the marketplace is something that you can call it whichever way you like, challenges or the use case. What was particularly relevant to what Jordan was trying to reflect there was that you choose your pattern. So if you wanted to ingest and transform unstructured data, there's not many very tools out there that do that, but I've never developed a tool. And I'll come on to a couple of these use cases in a second with a bit more detail. But you can also make real-time decisions with streaming data. That's a new volition that's come there. So you've got IoT devices, you've got URLs, you've got video files, you name it, you've got them out there. And also they deliver data reliably with the pipeline monitoring. It's not just use the monitoring that's in, say, a data stage or an ETL product. It's the other monitoring that you need to apply as well within there, because as data engineers are looking at all these different things, they have to address that. And then looking at how you ingest that into a centralized data store with the new, links to data lake houses and data warehouses and so on. But your good old days of integrating data for operational use cases still exist. And in there, we are seeing a lot of the streamlining of regulatory compliance and financial optimization as well within there. So if you're looking at, say, banking or financing apps, so they're looking at fraud or know your own client and things like that. And more importantly, people are looking at modernizing their data pipelines and accelerate them to the cloud. There will be sovereignty of data that you need to protect in the UK or whatever country you're operating from. So some things need to stay on premise, some can go on cloud, but you can drive that optimization and performance. We're going to put a quick polling question up now, and it's really just to say, James, I don't know whether you can just fire that off and to ask you some questions, just to say, what challenge use cases are you working on or you're considering or planning and so on. So if you could tick a box if you wish to. If you don't wish to, we understand. And again, as Simon said, it's all anonymously fed into there. So I'll do my one. And we see the little bubbles change and go through there. Oh, interesting. There's a lot around the data lakehouse. That's interesting. There's a lot of publicity and press around the likes of Databricks and Snowflake and things like that. And IBM have actually attended the Databricks conference just recently and presented their integration with Databricks through watsonx.data integration. Okay, thank you. Next slide, please, Jordan. So as Jordan highlighted here, this is really just a pictorial view, really to talk about how to ingest unstructured data, because unstructured data isn't structured like databases, columns, fields, and records like that. You've got to unravel that into a format that can be read. So you have to do something around that, and that's probably why AI is talked about a lot, but only 1% of the applications are done, because most of this stuff sits in PDF files or box folders or some description or other. And you need to take that, ingest it, transform it, and enrich it with your structured data. So the kind of the WAP challenge is how you do that, and then you can allow over what they call RAG, which is retrieval augmented generation. So you can then start posing those questions on that data. And as I say, 80 to 90% of the IC sits in unstructured data formats in different guises around the organization. So you could use the unstructured data integration capabilities within watsonx.data integration. You can use it on its own, or you can use it combined with other things within there. Next slide, please, Jordan. We get a lot of regulatory compliance now. We've got, your BCBS 239 for financial services. We've got GDPR. We have various financial regulations that are cropping up, and various rules and regs around validity of data and privacy of data. So you're trying to look at how you can do that, and streaming data has become more and more relevant, particularly with people picking up applications from third parties and having to feed that into their environments because they've either gone to a cloud service for, say, Salesforce or Salesforce and different things like that. So you can move those through. But you could use the streaming side of integration and then couple that with moving that into the batch if you wanted to. But streaming is very good for IoT and say files, and it could be videos, it could be anything that's will do that. And then on top of that, you can build that into AI agents and into a centralized data store. Next slide, please, Jordan. Next slide, please. Oh, right, gone. So what you can also do within this is we've seen a lot of people looking to simplify their data ingestion into a centralized data store. So this is where the data lakehouse is now coming into play now, where you can actually bring data, ingest it from, various different data repositories, such as the lakehouse, or part of a modern architecture where you might be using, say, likes of Iceberg file systems and looking at Parquet and other elements around there, JSON files, XML, where you need to bring that into play to make that more meaningful to you as an organization, because those files will come from within there. And the batch in data integration can still also be applied to that, and then you can apply your pipelines and the observability over that as in there. So next slide, Jordan. So can we just pose the next question, James? It's the deeper dive. We're going to run another session, but we didn't know whether we'd like to get people's view. If not, would you like to, because we went through these at a kind of rapid pace, are there particular elements that you would like to see a separate, say, 20-30 minute session on within in the next, say, few weeks or a month ahead? And just be interested to see people's opinions on that. Interesting. Okay, real-time streaming, but ETL and ELT still strong. Yeah. So it looks like an even Stevens on that one as well. So these are playing through. So thanks very much for that. So as Jordan explained, I think I'm going to hand across to you now, Jordan, just to cover this last element off, and then we'll go to a Q&A, and then we can wrap up if everyone's happy with that. I'm conscious of time, so.
Yeah, so as Paul mentioned, there's 5 capabilities within watsonx.data integration. First is that ETL, ELT, that data observability aspect, real-time streaming, data synchronization, low latency data synchronization, as well as that, unstructured data. So at this point, we're probably all wondering about, how you can get watsonx.data integration, how is it available, et cetera, et cetera. So watsonx.data integration is available on SaaS and software. And so one of the really cool things about watsonx.data integration is that it provides a purchasing model that provides access to all the data integration capabilities that we've been talking about, as well as that you just saw on the previous screen. So if you want to purchase, let's say, ETL, ELT, resources today, you can do that. And then later, if you want to allocate a portion of those resources to, let's say, streaming or data observability, you can do that as well. The purchasing model is kind of like a gift card that you can spend across watsonx.data integration. So really, the net here is that it significantly provides flexibility to add or change usage between the data integration capabilities. And so to wrap up here, I want to now look at watsonx.data integration in terms of the broader IBM data management ecosystem. So I would like for you all to think about this in a very circular approach with 3 solutions. And those 3 solutions are right here in the middle. So watsonx.data is the only open and hybrid lakehouse on the market. And watsonx.data provides a hybrid cloud infrastructure fit for purpose query engines, as well as an embedded vector database to manage and prepare data for RAG and more. And watsonx.data integrates with key data fabric capabilities from the ingesting of data with watsonx.data integration, as well as bringing data intelligence to data through our newly released product, watsonx.data Intelligence, which brings governance, quality, and lineage together to make trustworthy and actionable data. So keeping with the theme here again, and similar to the slide that I had just talked about, you don't need the entirety of either of these stacks to get started. You can start with what you need, scale up, down, and across based off of your needs. And you don't have to throw away your existing tools to do this either. We want to help you get started with what makes sense and where you have the most immediate needs. So Paul, I believe it's back to you now.
It's back to me, yeah. Just to wrap up. So there was a question, I think someone asked about what is IBM's solution comparison to Cloudera. Simon's already answered that, but that'd essentially be watsonx.data. But there's a lot more behind all of those things.
Yeah.
And there's another question.
I just wanted to, Simon here again. So yeah, I think I was going to just say thanks, Jordan, for that. As I think you said, we've had to go through quite a lot of stuff very quickly there. As Paul mentioned earlier, our intention really is to do some deeper dives into each of those different kind of pillars of functionality, etc. So please look out for those, and we'll do some other kind of smaller, kind of more focused data seminars on those as well, just to get them to spend a little bit more time on it. So, but I hope you've got some information out of this, and I think one of the very interesting things that's come out of this is we've seen the AI piece in there as well, about how we can now actually, if you look at the future of ETL, it's not just about people doing low code, it's going to be kind of using AI to leverage that. And we can see already that IBM are quite a long way down the road of being able to do that with the AI assistant, and we've been involved in helping IBM to actually develop that. So it looks really good, and we've seen what's coming down the line as well, so it's even better. So I think hopefully maybe you're not doing some of these things at the moment that we've been talking about, but there's a good chance you probably will be soon. And I think just talking about the actual kind of data lake piece as well, and things like that, it seems that people are starting to do that, and we've got a very small sample here. But your answers that you said here actually do reflect what we're seeing in the market as well of our customers. So we're helping our customers now with data lakes. We're helping our customers now with creating AI assistant data and stuff like that, which is where the structured data comes in. So I think these things are coming your way probably, even if you're not doing it at the moment. And as the last thing is, ETL is here to stay, as we're seeing as well. Everyone's busy doing that as well still. So yeah, so that was really just my kind of thoughts on that. But do we have any more? If anyone's got any more questions, please feel free to ask. We can answer them now. And if you want to stay a bit longer, we can do if you need to.
There was a question about AI, Simon. The components being available in data stage, which I've said it's available, and we can share the information. We were actually part of the beta testing of that as a company, so we worked with Sharia and Jordan and the product team look at that particular product within there, so we can do that. I'm conscious we said we'd try and keep this to 45 minutes. We're 3 or 4 minutes over that, and I know we started a little bit later, but there's an awful lot to pack in there, and we've got a lot of materials which we can share, Simon, as you said. So we can either close off now. There are a number of other questions I could probably put out there, but basically the good thing is IBM's got your back covered. Whatever integration style you're looking for, it's now there available, and you use it on a consumption-based model, as Jordan reflected, like a gift card. You just use what you need, how and when, whether it's on premise or as a service. But we'll happily talk to you about those on a one-on-one basis, or as a we'll run another session around that. We will also do one on watsonx.data intelligence probably in early September, just so watch out for that. So we'll keep you posted on that particular element, which is your cataloging and your lineage and data quality. So
just on the last point, Paul, I think data intelligence and data catalog are kind of fundamental to data integration going forwards as well. But for the things like the AI assistants to work properly and all those kind of things, you need good data catalogs really. And once you get a good strong data catalog, then the automation of creating pipelines is going to become significantly easier and quicker as well. So these two things go hand in hand. Also data quality obviously as well, which we always talk about, but it's becoming more important now with AI. So black poor data gives you poor responses in AI. So I think those two things are very, very tightly integrated, and so we recommend that you join us to understand what IBM's doing around the business intelligence area as well.
Thanks, Simon. So thank you everyone for attending. We appreciate your time and spending some time with us. I'd like to thank Jordan particularly for time, effort, and trying to go through a lot of those elements in a kind of rapid speed. There's a lot to intake, and to Simon for the input. And we look forward to talking to you in the future. So I'll end the event now and leave and close things off. So thank you everyone for your time, and we'll be in contact. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you everyone. Bye-bye.